Outside of her statistical leadership, has really weighed heavy to this 9-0 start, best in program history for the Spartans.
Tate gets the ball inside. Big transfer addition. Grace Van Slooten with the first bucket.
Van Slooten, oh my goodness.
Speaking of the front court, Christy.
She is so shifty in there, and she just slithers her way by you side, and she somehow finishes, and now Michigan State could press.
Kylie Feuerbach with the first triple of the game. Hawkeyes on the board.
Feuerbach, she can knock in timely triples, although she's just shooting under 25% on the season from there. That's a viable threat, and they love to push in transition and get those early threes up.
So far, so good. Handling this Michigan State press was a big key for the Hawkeyes, and speaking to head coach Jan Jensen, want to mention as well, officials on the call today, Gina.
Well, Robin Freilich has done just a magnificent job with these Spartans.
Head coach Robin Freilich in her second season at the helm as Iowa gets ready to put it in play. The first coach to lead this squad to an NCAA tournament appearance in her first season. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Nice O-board by O'Grady. Three-pointer offline, though, for Lucy Olson. Foul called on the ground here.
You see, there are those second chance opportunities that Iowa is going to be ravenous for. They get right off.
It's a very different Iowa team, but she's brought this group together and really elevated the defense, Christy, for the Hawkeyes.
Absolutely. The defense and the paint presence. And they have just changed in that way in terms of how they attack on the offensive end. They want to get inside out first. The last 4 years, it was outside in. A little bit of inside, but a lot of outside. But this time, it's flipped.
O'Grady shot offline. Little tic-tac-toe, though. Some nice ball movement there for the Hawkeyes. Ayrault, though, averaging a double-double in the last couple of games. Whistle blew before that bucket went in, so it will be Spartans' ball.
Well, let's see what Michigan State comes up with down here. You see, Iowa loves to pack the paint, and they love really good gap discipline on the defensive side. And they like to switch as well. And Hannah Stuelke, you see right there with Julia Ayrault. That's that matchup we want to watch. Let's see how that continues.
WB audio capture not
Julia
registered.
Ayrault. Get that body bump for the space, that dribble bump. And took it strong to the cup. And Hannah Stuelke, only a junior still, but has had 2 runs to championship games with this Iowa team.
Erin Halligan high off the glass, but offline, and it's a steal. Ball just goes loose, though, over the baseline.
Sotelo couldn't hang on to it, but that composure. And now look, they're trying to trap it.
SWB audio capture
5
not
turnovers
registered.
now.
That's what we want to see, right? And we're looking at this Iowa team who against Tennessee a couple of games ago had 30 turnovers. And Jan Jensen, that was a 10-point loss. They were still in that game with a minute and a half to go, even with all of the porous turnover situation that they presented in that one. But they corrected it against Iowa State at home. And Jan told us before the game that was the biggest
over here for this Hawkeye squad.
And Guyton, we were just discussing the freshman. And she was cleared the Friday after Thanksgiving. So she's just getting back on track, still kind of on a minutes restriction, nothing specifically disclosed on that. But she had a magnificent game against Iowa State, hit some dagger threes in that one. And, we asked Jan Jensen what she said to her after the game, and she just said, hey, you're ready. You're ready for this moment. And
get the ball right back.
Van Slooten. Right here, great hands, but then that little pump fake, let the defense fly by. Got some birdies down in there, and then she got it to go. But she's so solid with her experience coming into this team, and it's been a seamless transition for her too. So the freshmen also have to make transitions, but new players to the program have to do the same thing.
Van Slooten, a junior forward, transferring in from Oregon, extremely successful. Get the ball right back.
Van Slooten right here, great hands, but then that little pump fake, let the defense fly by. Got some birdies down in there, and then she got it to go. But she's so solid with her experience coming into this team, and it's been a seamless transition for her too. So the freshmen also have to make transitions, but new players to the program have to do the same thing.
Van Slooten, a junior forward, transferring in from Oregon, extremely successful. Speaking of leadership, some familiar faces. Gabby Marshall in the crowd here watching her Hawkeyes.
I love it.
Huge, huge part of what this program did, going to back-to-back national title games. Just graduating last year.
Kate Martin just got picked up in that expansion draft in the WNBA.
Going to the Bay.
Valkyries.
Yeah.
Going to the Bay, the Valkyries, and obviously Caitlin Clark with the fever. She has, I don't know how many different gears, probably 10. And her change of speed and direction is so hard to contain. Look at this. She lulls you to sleep, crosses you over, and then on that next line of defense still maneuvers her body and then gets the offensive glass. I mean, there's no off button for Halleck. She is just always on go.
Theron Halleck, the Big Ten Sixth Player of the Year a season ago as a sophomore. By the way, Sydney Falter called for the foul.
Points a game. A lot of them have come from beyond the arc. That one snuggles home from range. And look at the clap it up. It's the clap it up for me. Julia Averault is on a different level when it comes to displaying the fire that we have known her to have. 17 and 12 against DePaul, their last outing. And the last 5 games, averaging a double-double of 19 and 10. I mean, she's been tremendously consistent with it.
Jocelyn Tate called for her first foul. Shot clock all comes up with it.
Let's see if they can manufacture a score off of it.
Averault looked like the shot was blocked, but it is a foul.
They just got her on the
Arm
way
contact,
up.
Yeah.
But it's been the defense. Watch this. Boop. Picking grapes off the vine right there and then pushing the other way. Sydney Falter finishes nicely in transition for the Hawkeyes, and that's what they need more of. Live ball opportunities down here go zone as they're waiting for Stokey to come back in the game with those 2 fouls. So they are trying to just buy some time to go back to man-to-man, player-to-player.
3 turnovers here for the Spartans in just the first couple minutes of the second quarter. Olsen in the mid-range, no. O'Grady the rebounds, in traffic, draws the foul.
Yeah, she dribbled it, but she didn't move anybody. And I was like, oh, you're still not in a good position there. If you
It was close. I always just leave it at that.
Right.
Touch shot of play, last touch by Shoemate. Hawkeyes basketball, so a little bit frenetic here. The Spartans are early in the second quarter with a string of turnovers.
Yeah, just some empty possessions, and just have to get organized, and Stokey is going to head back in. So now with Averault coming back in too. Yeah, that's that matchup.
For Spartans with 9 giveaways, but it's the Hawkeyes who are cashing in more.
Yeah, and
9 to
again,
3 in the points off of it.
right, and again, Lucy Olsen, she doesn't turn the ball over like that. She's been disrupted by this Michigan State defense, and she's been slow out of the gates producing any offense as well for Iowa so far.
Olsen
Definitely
0 for
capable.
5.
Yeah, definitely capable though.
A miss there, though, for the Spartans. Brings the ball back to the Hawkeyes.
Taylor Bull by the Spartans. Julia Averault making the extra pass to the left to Shoemate, and she cashes in from range.
Another Hawkeye turnover. That was their 13th. They average right about 16 and a half per game. They're already at 13 here with 5 minutes to play in the second quarter. Tate. Guyton the rebound.
Yeah, a little horn set there to open up the court by Michigan State. Had the 2 post players at the elbows, 2 shooters in the corner to freeze.
And Slutin draws the foul. O'Grady hands up. She's like, hey, what'd I do?
Yeah, you didn't move your feet. That's what happens. You got to move your feet, especially with Van Sluten. You know she's wiry. You know she's going to give you a counter to the counter down inside. And right there you saw her break the plane and the principle of verticality with that right arm on Van Sluten.
SWB audio capture
That was
not
O'Grady's
registered.
First, the team's third here in the second quarter. Another thing I wanted to bring up.
Time you want to make sure she doesn't pick up that third. It's tough to come back in the third quarter with 3 fouls.
Averault trying to get tricky with a pass, and a foul is called. Iowa basketball.
Yeah, it looked like Hannah Stokey got a piece of Julia Averault's shot there. Even with her 2 fouls, she reached in and tried to block it.
SWB audio capture
Sotelo
not
called for the
registered.
foul. Rolt sizing up Stolke. No. Stolke the rebound.
Hannah stayed steady there with those 2 fouls, and you may see Jan Jensen take her out as well. You saw Van Sluten take a seat with those 2 fouls. She may be thinking the same thing soon here.
Stolke goes up on Sotelo. Foul called.
But for now, Jan Jensen is going to clap that up. It was close to being an offensive foul, though.
SWB audio.
First bucket of the afternoon.
Ayrault letting it fly. Back-to-back baskets.
And not her first bucket.
No, it's not. Ayrault in double digits now. Stolke going up on Shoemate. Tough contact there. Foul called. Shoemate getting called for her third.
Well, here's the most recent sequence that we've had here at the Breslin Center. Look at Hannah Stolke trying.
Helped up by her teammates.
I mean, it is a full-on sprint. Your first 3 steps in transition, that's where you win the race. Stolke gets it out. A push with a pass. Easy money on the other side for the Hawkeyes.
Jocelyn Tate called for her third. Something to keep an eye on as Van Sluten checks back in. She has 2, and Hannah Stolke goes to the free throw line. We talked about the improvement. A 46% free throw shooter. Her 8 points per game. Just about a 13-second differential here between the shot clock and game clock. O'Grady back to Mullaney. No.
Plenty of time right here for Michigan State to get a quality look. Robin Freilich imploring her team to get organized, getting a set. And here comes a blitz by Iowa. Double team coming right at her.
Halleck wide open, comes up short.
Ayrault faded away and took the power off that particular shot.
Olsen fires from deep, got it!
And that's how she ended the first half, with that mid-range buzzer beater, and comes back and strikes from range on the other side. And that's what Iowa may need to do, right? Have both of them, Lucy Olsen and Hannah Stolke, on the same side. Maybe that's the remedy there to make Michigan State decide.
Jocelyn Tate answers for the Spartans.
And then when that happens, you can attack closeouts. And you can get downhill and get a piece of the paint, whether that's to spray it out or to get a piece of the paint and go all the way to the basket.
Fouling continuing to be a storyline as well. Keep an eye on that. Van Sluten spinning, no.
Well, the difference between how Iowa is scoring inside and how Michigan State is scoring inside, Michigan State's kind of fading away with it. And Iowa's taking it right to the body.
Getting physical. O'Grady is called for the foul. That's her second.
Addie O'Grady was right there. Thought she had it clean. So did Jen Jensen, who is the maestro of post play on both sides. And she got a piece of the hand right there with her left hand. Only because Van Sluten went a little further underneath of her. And that's how slithery she is in there. As soon as you think, again, you think you have her covered.
O'Grady called for the foul again. Can't believe it. That's her third.
But that's why I said that was going to be a big factor here in the second half. Who can contain the paint? It comes down to shell drill defense principles. And watch the spin move, just quick with it, right to the baseline. O'Grady didn't have a chance to get that foot to the side, to the baseline there to cut that off and turn her back to the corner. But those are those swift moves that Van Sluten possessed.
A couple other players, Stolke O'Grady with 3, and then Tate, Shoemate, and Sotelo all with 3 for the Spartans.
Well, it's going to be about discipline at this juncture of the game, right? With the fouls piling up, and so much time left here in the third quarter. So we're not even talking about fourth quarter, and that would be trouble in the fourth quarter at this point. With 6 minutes in the fourth, that would be a lot. So you have to make sure that everyone else is doing their due diligence to stay disciplined with what they are supposed to do in their role for their teams. And you see, after starting 0 for 5, Lucy Olsen has found the bottom of the net in her last several attempts.
Shoemate, her 3 is off iron. Up through traffic, nicely done by Woodard.
And Hannah Stolke tried to take one for the team there, tried to get a charge to no avail. little man-to-man pressure once again by Michigan State. Trying to slow the tempo. Lucy Olson trying to maneuver now against a double team. And, you know, preseason named to the first team All Big Ten. Just bringing all that.
Speaking of, tries to go up on Van Slooten, who gets the block.
Clean up top block. And again, this Michigan State team, 14 blocks against DePaul in their last outing last Sunday.
Olsen feeling it. Couldn't get the deep one to go. Halleck pushing. Wins over Cal and Vandy as Stolke put another one home in the Acrisure Classic for the Spartan squad, but they trailed by as much as 16 to Cal and were able to claw their way back to the win, which was the largest comeback since 2017.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's the double trouble for me, Grace and Julia, but on the offensive end for Iowa, look at that great bounce pass. Yes, please, more of that. The basics and the fundamentals. You can't just bullet pass a chest pass in there. She's got to hold that seal.
Stolke spinning inside. No basket. It's on the ground. Foul called.
Stolke knew she was in a cross-match situation and tried to turn the corner and get downhill. Well, you see right there, Simmons. I'm sorry, that's Tate right there on the initial defense, but Simmons would have been that second line, and sometimes if you don't have position, you got to give that up to the next. By Michigan State, Robin Freilich loves that kind of trench work, okay? There was extra effort, multiple efforts by multiple players. If you can't get two hands on it, get one. Tip it to your teammate. Julia Averill just fired up, swelling up with the Arthur fist down on the ground. You love to see it, because that's not what she has displayed over her career. So for her to be so confident, that's what Robin Freilich said was the difference with her display of that kind of passion and emotion. When she was on her knees right there, and Lucy Olson, you see that wry smile, you know, that's not telling the whole story there, but here's the triple try by Michigan State, pushing tempo, and this is where they've been able to find these kinds of shots from range. And bringing the heat and the smoke after as well. A lot of passion right now for Michigan State.
Just a couple turnovers for the Hawkeyes in this half so far.
Stirred.
Fourth foul called on Sotelo for Michigan State.
And it just continues to grow, that list. A good switch out by Michigan State right there on that screening action, and that made that pass a little late and desperate.
Halleck driving inside, can't get the roll.
Oh, she usually makes those. And that's just going to fire her up on the defensive end to get it back and try to get. You see her hit
The audio
a shot.
capture,
You know that
not
you can make it come
registered.
back and you're that much more detailed mentally, and you lock in with it and get that three to go to keep Michigan State just a couple of possessions behind Iowa after they've knocked in a couple of threes for themselves.
One thing to keep in mind about this Michigan State team, I know we were talking about the big comeback against Cal. They put up 30 in the fourth quarter, so this is a team that can go off at any given time.
Absolutely. But they know what it takes on the defensive side to screen. She attacked that gap and finished it.
SWB audio capture,
7-0 run
not
here for the
registered.
Spartans, 2-point ball game. Feuerbach, no. Spartans come up with a rebound, batted away from Stolke. Hampton. Oh, Hampton's feeling it. Tie ball game. Michigan State right back in it. A fourth quarter team coming up in the fourth quarter.
There, the greatest of ease on that one. And just dropped that one right in the bucket.
Nyla Hampton with 8 points as the Spartans are rolling here in the second half.
They brought a little shadow coverage to Stolke inside, right? So they can't keep individually covering her. They were bringing the second side over for some reinforcement and got another stop because of it.
Shoemate rips away the rebound after a 14-0 run by Michigan State. Olsen driving in. Olsen through traffic draws the contact.
Averill just a little too high to rotate over to contest that one without fouling.
Nyla Hampton called for her second, the team's second as well. Olsen goes the gap for the Hawkeyes.
Well,
Up and down game for Olsen.
not be successful in this second half.
Could hear a pin drop there. I just wanted to let that breathe for a second because it felt like a lot of people here at the Breslin Center were holding their breath as Nyla Hampton hits the free throw. Huge opportunity for one of these teams to grab a big resume builder when you look at a top 25 matchup, two very good squads in December. These kind of results matter come the postseason.
Well, absolutely. Well, you had asked Robin Freilich what the
Hampton, oh my goodness. Nyla Hampton clutch for the Spartans.
They've not found an answer for Nyla Hampton here in the fourth quarter. She's been able to score at will. And that's what Robin Freilich said. Like, we've got to be able to play in gaps, and she is doing that extremely well, exceptionally well right now.
Stolke looking for the answer, taken away by Ayrault, but a whistle blows. Some arm contact as a foul is called on the Spartans.
Decelerate, accelerate, get downhill, finish with contact, and dropping in degree of difficulty shots on 1,000. Like reverse layups, like she's gotten into her entire offensive repertoire, and she's displayed it with a high level of effectiveness and efficiency. And she's been the linchpin, right? She's the one who tied it up at 58 by driving it excessively to the basket. And
a falter. Working on Simmons, a falter
SWB
denied,
audio
but the
capture,
second chance
not
goes for
registered.
Caleb Stremlow.
little block shot right there, deflection down in the trenches, and the relentless behavior of Iowa keeps them within striking distance, just 3 down now.
Single possession game, 1 minute to go. Nyla Hampton running the offense. Clutch. Michigan State gets the basketball back. There's been some chaos these last few possessions. What are the discussions that are happening right now in these two huddles?
Well, right now for Iowa, they've got to come and meet every single pass,
SWB
right?
audio
But they also
capture,
have to set
not
and
registered.
use solid screens to get open opportunities, and I think they're going to go back to Lucy Olsen because she's just so quick and crafty and could score. Now, if it's not her that's going to score it, it could be that she sets up her teammates. That was her with 5 fouls, so she didn't impact the game.
She has gone out now. Taylor Stremlow is off the floor. Sydney Falter makes the first free throw. 2-point game. Sydney Falter, nearly a 71.5% free throw shooter coming into this game. Another big one here for the Hawkeyes, hits it.
Close to 5.
A Falter on Ayrault. A Falter denied. Julia Ayrault says no, not in my house.
Oh, what a solid defensive play by Julia Ayrault with that block.
SWB audio capture, not registered.
Robin Freilich saying hands up. Big play right here.